What the fuck is sleep? I don't even know what that is. Just pull me up over that tree. Hold up and watch that bitch feed.
Hey, shout out What Sleep TV, man. What Sleep TV? Ain't no sleep, motherfucker.
The features on this album, it kind of links back to, I'm not gonna say, I mean, it's people that you usually work with. Don Tripp, Robin, Raynell, but you got Brian Brown on there too.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Brown. Yeah, I think he had probably, I don't know, man, top 3 best freestyle on What Sleep, bro. I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm gonna have to show you.
Okay.
But is there any reasons why you picked them specifically for the songs that you picked? Is there any reason it's just what I'm working with? I've seen them on this song, so I'm gonna reach out to them and see what they come up with.
Well, start with Brown.
Brown.
That was like a collaboration for collaboration's sake. We've been cool. We've been on the same shows a few times. We got a bunch of mutuals. I always been like, you know, on the up and up in passing, and I think camaraderie, mutual respect kind of thing. We just hadn't worked like making music together. So in one sense, it was kind of like overdue, and like I said, even on respect end, I had mentioned them in a freestyle I did last summer, and it was to say I admire something about like the spirit that he brings into like making his music. This is something that I had noticed. I've seen him perform live a few times. He was on a bill for my Hot Chicken Music Festival I did in 2017. After I dropped the Hot Chicken album, I did like a multi-genre show at Basement East, and he was one of the artists. It probably was 20 or 30 artists on the bill. It was like a day-long event. Like I think we did like 140% capacity of the venue. It was right in East Nashville, and him being an East Nashville native, you know, like I said, going back to then, that was, you know, we've worked together in different varieties. Well, we did a show in 2021 with Brassville on Live from Buchanan. The guys of Slim and Huskies put the show together, and Brown was on the bill, and he also performed with the band. So when we was going in to rehearse, I'm gonna just give you a backstory how we arrived here. When we were going in to rehearse, I noticed then like the passion, or like that, like bro was like very serious about his craft and what he was doing. Like one of the first rehearsals, this was my first time performing with a live band at this time, and they had worked together before. So I remember the first rehearsal that we kind of were both at, you know, there to work with the band. They already had this chemistry, like.
Are you talking about the band and Brian Brown?
Yeah, with Brassville and Brian Brown. I was like, I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? This is new territory for me. And at that first rehearsal, like, he just nailed it. And I'm like, obviously, you know, they had some experience, but I was like, damn, like, I gotta, on some like rapper shit, I'm like, I gotta get on my shit. Like it raised the bar for me, like in terms of performance and otherwise. Like, he gets it. He, you know, and seeing him perform past then, or just overall, like I said, this is like almost a spirit thing. Like just like bright spirited, enthusiastic, confident, and I'm like, these are some like things that I thought were cool or admirable, you know, as far as in the scope of on some like rap shit even. And so when I mentioned them in that freestyle, I'm like, truthfully, I want to rhyme like Brian ... It was as much, I mean, one, it was a callback to like Jay-Z saying, truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense. I did 5 million, I ain't been rhyming like common sense. It was like, I want to rap like Brian or whoever else. It's like, just more focus on distribution. And that's to say, like, the hustling my music has taken priority or precedence at times over just like the pure like love, craftsmanship, passion of it. And like I noticed the people that have that, and
he's definitely one.
And he's one of them, you know what I'm saying? And not to mention, like I said, a fellow East Nashville native. The direct that freestyle was called 615 Out East. So, you know, a call back to people from over there. Even acknowledging like Quantic Cash as being on my Mount Rushmore, Nashville rap, I guess was what was implied there. Another East Nashville native. In large part, it was, you know, it started there, and that was just a further like a reminder, like, damn, we haven't worked together, we should work. You know what I'm saying? If I could give acknowledgement to what you do and how you go about doing it, I think it makes sense to share whatever light I may have, and you know, if it's paying it forward, if you will, or whatever. But it just made even that much more sense. I think the mention made sense to him or resonated like accordingly, and like I said, we had never, you know, had only been cool. So due time, again, when I finished with the project the show with Brassville, that was kind of full circle because that wasn't us meeting, but it reminded me of, you know what I'm saying, we had done that other show with them. After I finished that show, I just reached back out like, hey, let's when you free, like, let's get in the studio. And we got in there and put that together like in tandem. And yeah, just what it was, kind of meeting in the middle, a mashup of our styles, our ears for beats. That's the track we selected, and even the titling, like From East Nashville with Love. Cause I think that's the premise, and it can get mistaken or misconstrued, but like shit, by and large, I come in peace, or you know, it be love even when it's taken otherwise, or taken however it's taken, and you know, even when it ain't reciprocated. So that was that. I felt like it was a good closing line after I built out the rest of the album. It was a good conclusion, because it's almost how you assign a letter, like sincerely yours, or you know, with love or whatever. And yeah, shout out to Brown. The other features, Robin Raynell has traditionally, or quite a few times over, featured on the title track of my projects. She was featured on Post Traumatic Stress title track, she was featured on Mental Warfare title track, she was featured on Intro Version, she was featured on did I say Funerals and Court Dates?
No, yeah, but that was
Funerals and Court Dates.
As far as title tracks, I think that's probably it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a few.
Lot more, though.
Yeah, she's on tons of my albums. So working with her and featuring her was kind of a second nature thing. You know, we're childhood friends. I've known Robin since I was at least 8 years old, if not younger. Our grandmothers were very close friends. Her younger brother was like one of my good friends growing up, and rivals in youth sports and stuff. Even that's why I say at least 8, because we started playing football against each other at 8. Last game I ever played, we actually lost this team. But anyway, shout out to Ryan. That's my people.
Yeah.
And
Trip is kind of self-explanatory.
And well, with Trip, I guess I was like I said, Robin with the title track just was us going in and writing a record together. Just like If from Imposter Syndrome, I'm now like the beauty of the collaboration is like I said, even with Brown's meeting in the middle. I don't want to put you on a Starlito song. I want it to be an us song.
Like let's see what we come up with together.
Or what's meeting in the middle sound or look like. And so for Robin and I to really like get in there and like we're like doing more like songwriting, because traditionally it has been like, oh, I got this song I think you would sound good on, or I need a singer on this song. Like now we're going in with the producers, with the production and building. With Trip, he's on the Womanizer, and I had the idea for a song before I had the beat, before I really like had the full on like concept or subject matter. Just wanted soul search, take a deeper dive, like I said, look within. So I knew I was gonna make a song called The Womanizer and just kind of talk about myself, like bring my flaws more to surface level, calling myself out on whatever. As I began writing, or I was writing that verse at large, I used like 5 or 6 television show references from like black TV, and you know, most of them are dated. I think I mentioned Insecure was like the most recent, and as I said, is my favorite show. But most of what I referenced, it was layered. It was black love on TV, black family aesthetic, black success, like things that don't get put out there in the forefront in terms of how we're portrayed, you know, from our culture. I mentioned Living Single. Those were professionals. These are working class people. It's pretty much the same show that Friends ended up making, and it's arguable whether or not they stole the concept from a Living Single. But yeah, you had professionals, different world. They were college students. You know what I'm saying? Like My Wife and Kids, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters. Like, these are black families that weren't poverty stricken and otherwise. And it was like I was selected those different show references and still telling my story or my plight or the saga of what my love life or lack thereof has looked like up to this point, or at least one part of it, an episode, if you will. And when I wrote that verse and arrived at the end of like just a poor womanizer, like, one, the production sounded like a TV show theme song, like Family Matters or Step by Step or Full House. Like, it just put me in the mind of it. Like, when I heard the track, like, that's what I heard. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So that's what led me to write about TV shows. Okay. Cause early in my career, or even before I had a career, early in my stages of writing and rapping, I would take one thing and rap about it. I'm gonna write about basketball. I'm gonna write this verse about hockey. I'm gonna write this verse about football. Like, when I went by All-Star. And so it was in large part tapping back into my roots. So like, I probably wrote a verse about TV shows when I was 17, 18. And I don't know if it ended up on none of my mixtapes, but that's why I know I could do it. And it was just like updating it, tapping back into that skill set, that passion that I once had, that attention to detail. And when I wrote the verse, I wanted to write a second verse. I did have it in mind to, like, I wanted to mention like Cole and Big Shirley and some other references that I just thought were funny and whatnot. Or I had a few more, but it also popped in my head to reach out to Don Tripp, because obviously he's my most frequent collaborator, and he just went on this historic run, and I knew he could or would deliver. But also the thought process was, bro is married now, he's turned the corner. I think once upon a time he probably felt or has been in a space that I was describing on this song already, but seeing as how like he's in a different space, I mean, I was even in his wedding, like I know him to be in a different space altogether. I was like, prospectively, I think he could add something to this song that I couldn't, and he could speak as a recovered womanizer. And so I sent it to him, and funny part is he ended up reworking the concept, because he said I took all the good TV show references. So he used movies. He used black cinema. He used black film. I didn't know Ty got the verse back, but I was kind of like, even on a fan level, I appreciated it, like on some parallel, you know, it fits. It makes sense. But even it was just funny that he's like, man, you took everything, like, and that just kind of speaks to like our working synergy or camaraderie. Like, he ain't had to ask or nothing like that, but he just, that's where he took it. He used How to Be a Player, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, Why Did I Get Married, Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Wait and Exhale. And I was like, damn, like, he really told his own stories in a unique way. So artistically, like, I think at the time I might even felt like this was gonna maybe make a good Stepbrothers for life record for our joint project. Yeah, just when I heard the beat, like, or when I was starting to craft it. But kind of a little known fact, we've never worked remotely on the Stepbrothers projects. Every song you heard, we got in the same room and did them together. So by default, this kind of felt more like a Starlito record featuring him, like, versus we get in the same room to make our Stepbrothers stuff. So it kind of defaulted here. Not to mention I had all these other beats from Sapphire, so I'm like, it's gonna fit over here in a regretfully pocket more than the Stepbrothers for life, because we typically like generate those ideas together and build on them in the same room. It just always has worked like that. We done tons of songs where we sent them to each other, but it was just on his album or his project or on my project.
Yeah, but Stepbrothers specifically, y'all usually, well, except this one time, y'all, well, I mean, it's not Stepbrothers.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. That's why this is here and not on the Stepbrothers album.
That makes sense.
Concept-wise, it was strong enough to have been a Stepbrothers song, but, you know, it fits with this.